Hi Venus, I'm back here. Now I'm going to discuss about the analysis of Module 1 question paper. I'm very happy with your response for the question paper, and of course I'm too happy with your result. But there are few modifications that you have to do from your side in approach towards the question paper. I don't want to make any sort of corrections in the mode of your preparation. Your preparation is awesome. Okay, you're going in a perfect track. But the approach to the question paper, the way you have to handle the question paper, or the way you have to revise the things, or the way you have to handle the negative marking, all such important things will be discussed in this particular video as per the request of most of you. So coming to the scores analysis. Okay, so in this module 1, okay, the top score is 873, which is really an extraordinary score. I'm very happy with first two scores, but there is a drastic drop between the 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so you can see only two people who are giving a tough competition. Okay, means they are very perfect in the mode of preparation, they're very perfect in the mode of revision, of course they're very perfect at every step. Okay, this can be the maximum score to any student for this question paper. Of course the paper is above the medium range, it's not too difficult, but I can give you a difficulty index of 75 to 80 percentage for this paper, which is almost the level of recent NEET. In fact, a bit harder than the recent NEET. Okay, a bit harder than when you compare with the recent NEET exam. But you can see a drop in the rank 3 and rank 4. Of course, rank 3 and rank 4 are better, and further there is a drop of 15 marks. Okay, so you can see there is a drastic drop between 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 and 4 to 5. Okay, the drop is somewhere around 14 here. You can see a drop of 7 here. You can see again a drop is very huge. But once you hit 170s, you can see there are 3 people at 170s, and you can see 160s, they're somewhere around 4. You can see 150s, 5, you can see 140s, 130s, and as you go from the first level to the level 2, you can see there are 2-3 people fighting for the same score. Okay, you can see 2 people here, 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 and further here you can see a competition between the scorings for every. Means as you drop out from a score which is going to be a deciding score, for example in this question paper I can say 600 plus is a very good safe zone, comfortable zone to get into a government dental college. Okay, somewhere around 600 will be a very safe zone to get a very good rank in the top 200 or 250 odd list. 600 plus in this particular question paper. But you see above this, like in this range, you can see more number of students who will be in this competition zone. So I always suggest you to fight in the examination hall to cross this safe zone, to get above this safe zone. Means anything about like 610 plus is going to be very safe, rather than staying in the zone of 600 to 500. So what I can tell you is most of you were in the zone of 600 to 400. So traveling from 400 to 500 or 500 to 600 is not too difficult. You have a decent number of days for the examination, you have decent rounds of revision for the examination, and now you have to be very conscious. For example, simple I can say, so many students calling me and telling me, sir, there are 10 questions plus I have lost just by overlook. Just by a simple overlook. Means you don't read the question properly, you don't go through the options properly, or in hurry you go for a wrong option rather than going for a right option, even for a known question. If there are 10 such questions, each question you know that it's going to carry 40 marks, you lose 40 marks. Apart from that, you're going minus 10. So you lose, unfortunately, because lack of concentration or because of disturbance from any others. Okay, mostly it's not going to happen in the examination hall, but when you're giving an examination in a home or in any other place, Of course there will be disturbance. For example, the device you use, you get your calls on the mobile, you get your WhatsApp messages, notifications, everything, right? Everything. So such disturbances are going to drop your score by 10 MCQs. Maybe your negligency, or your lack of concentration, or your lack of focus, or all these things are going to drop your score by 50. 50 is going to change everything. For example, if you see here 570, if you lose 50 marks, where your rank is going to be? It's going to be 620. So from 25, lack of concentration will jump your rank in this crowd of like 1500 odd students. Your rank will be pushed to 43. What is going to happen when a crowd of 25,000 students are giving examination? So every mark is important, every line is important. Question can come from any corner. So everything what we teach and what you read are very, very important in converting a wrong answer to a right answer. So this is a rough analysis. I don't want to talk much about your marks. I'm very happy with your marks. Whatever your target is. For example, if your score is 350, make sure in the next exam you try to move around 350. Don't keep I never want a student who is in 350 to keep a target like 750. 350, 750 is 400 marks difference, which is not possible in a single exam. It can be possible in a series of exams in this 100 days left over for the exam, but it cannot be possible in a single day. So what I suggest, for example, if your score is 573, make sure in the next exam you try to hit 600 plus, or you can keep either marks as a target or you can keep your rank as a target. Make sure next time you should maintain 40, or you should be below 40, somewhere around 35 to 40, or better than that. But make sure you should not cross 40. Try to keep that. Try to maintain that consistency in your ranking. Try to maintain that consistency in your scoring. Whether the question paper is easy, whether the question paper is hard, anything, if you maintain a constant rank which never changes 10 plus or minus, your preparation is very, very good. Okay, so I don't want to keep any sort of cutoffs. So anything in the top 50 for this question paper, because by seeing the score of 550, I feel it is decent enough that you are in a tough competition. You are in competition, but you have to increase your accuracy. So all of you, the primary goal, whether for you, whether for me, whether for any student, is to maintain that accuracy, increase that accuracy. So there are few aspects that I'm going to talk basing upon your request, how to improve the accuracy. The first thing is negative marking. Okay, so most of you are worried about negative marking. Sir, negative marking. So I'm just going to give a simple example. Your exam is for 240 questions, right? And each question is going to carry 4 marks. And one wrong answer is going to carry -1. You know this, right? For example, if you attempted all 240 of 240 in all the cases, I'm just going to talk the cases where you have attempted 240 out of 240. For example, a student got 150 right answers. He got 150 right answers. So 150 into 4 is, you get, your score is 600, but you lost 90 questions. So 90 negative marking. So your total score, effective score, is 510. For example, now if your right answers, if your accuracy has increased by 10, so now it's going to be 160 into 4. So 160 into 4 is 640. Now your negative marking will be 80 minus. So now your score is increased to a drastic level. That is, now your score is 560. For example, now after working so hard, your accuracy has been increased to 180 questions. 180 into 4, that is 720. Your negative marking, now it is -60. Now your score is 660. For example, if your accuracy is being increased to 200 questions out of 240, 200 into 4 is 800 minus 40. Now your score is 760. So as you increase your accuracy from 50 right answers to 60, 60 right answers to 80, 80 right answers to 200, what your score is increasing, you can see a drastic increase in score. Just by keeping 10 right answers, your score has increased by 50. Just by keeping 20 right answers, your score has been increased by 100. Just by keeping 20 more right answers, your score has been increased by 100. So this drastic improvement is really required. So I want people who are very confident and who really want to achieve that mark of 300 below rank to get into government dental colleges, or you have a category. So category based discussion is different. If you stand top in your category in the state, most probably you're going to end up with a government dental college of the particular department that is allocated according to the updates. Okay, because 1 year they drop this department and next year they drop uh, the next department according to the seat matrix. And okay, so once you increase your accuracy, keep on working on your strategies, increasing in accuracy. Okay, don't going wrong in the questions which are already known, the concepts which are already known, applying your elimination method of going for the right answer. If you apply all these things accumulatedly, your accuracy will increase at least by 1 mark. Okay, so by which your effect of negative marking. So the simple statement is, as you increase your accuracy, means as you increase your right answers, the effect of negative marking is going to decrease. So for example, there is a student who prepared only for 1 to 2 months, just a random preparation, and give an exam. He should be more concerned about negative marking. His preparation is not good. So the increasing in the accuracy or increasing the right answer chances will be very less. So once this is less, the chances of negative marking will be very, very more. But people who has a good quality of preparation, who has covered 80% of the syllabus, 80% of the tasks, can go for a full attempt. Can go for full attempt of 240 out of 240, as in the mock exams and the module exams that we are going to conduct in the upcoming days. Because you have 4 module exams, followed by you have 5 AIMS mocks, and followed by you have 20 NEET mock exams. So you roughly have somewhere around 25 to 30 odd examinations, which is going to be a huge exposure. You know, in most of the questions you can attempt 240 out of 240. There's nothing to be worried. When you feel I don't know anything about this idiotic question, then you can think of to leave the question. If you know something, at least 1 or 2 options, then you can move ahead to attempt it. Okay, so I'm just going to explain you some mathematical equations. So finally you got a conclusion that as you increase the right answers, the effect of negative marking will decrease. Make sure attempting more than 235 or 235 to 240, because if you see most of the students who are the single digit rankers or who are in the top 200 list of MDS Conquer, most of them has attempted 230 plus in the final exam out of 240. In fact, if you talk about the single digit rankers, I can roughly give All India third ranker 2018 has attempted 237. That is Bharati. Aarti has attempted 238. I think Somya has attempted 236. So most of the single digit rankers, if you just have an analysis of all the single digit rankers throughout the country, I'm very sure that most of them has attempted 234 to 35 plus. So if you're targeting very high, make sure you should be very, very confident about the subject and try to increase the number of attempts. So as you increase the number of attempts, your accuracy can be increased and your negative marking effect will be decreased. Okay, that is the first thing. So, but if we see the probability of going a right answer, I'm just going to talk about NEET as of now. Okay, NEET is +4 and -1, right? So if you, for example, you have a question, okay, you have options A, B, C, D. Okay, for example, you don't know anything about the question and you want to go for a random answer. So the probability of getting a right answers in the 4 option is 1/4. And the probability of a negative marking in your NEET exam is also 1/4. So the net will be 0. So that is the reason why we suggest most of the people who are attempting the NEET and who are very good at preparation, who has good ample amount of preparation in completing the tasks and the schedules, to go for a maximum attempt 240 out of 240, nothing wrong. But a minimum, because of some fear factor, we regularly suggest them to go for 235 plus attempt, because the NEET nullifying is almost the 0. But for example, in a question where you can clear one option, so you are left over with 3 and the probability of getting a right answer is 1/3. 1/3 means 75%. Sorry, 1/3 means 33.33%. And probability of getting a wrong answer is 1/4 means 25. So this is better. So definitely in a NEET examination, when you're able to eliminate one option and you want to go for a random option between 3, it's go for it. 2 options, probability of getting a right answer is 50%, wrong answer is 25. 2 options, you have to go for it. One option is of course the best option, right? So this is what the strategy. So the second conclusion statement, the first conclusion is, as you increase the right answers, as you increase the accuracy, the negative marking effect will be decreased and your rank and your score will improve. The second right option, note, first important thing, note, when you can eliminate one option, from any question, make sure you attempt that question. When you eliminate one option, make sure you eliminate that question. Even in situations, if you feel the paper is very hard for you after good preparation, then you can attempt any question. So the same strategy for AIMS, because AIMS is third negative marking. Right answer plus 3, wrong answer minus 1. So when you eliminate one option, or when you cannot eliminate all the options, the chances of negative marking is 33.33% in AIMS, because it's minus 1/3. And chances of getting right answer is 25 only. So negative marking chances are very high. So the statement is, when you cannot eliminate any option in a given question in the AIMS examination hall, never attempt that question. Only when you can eliminate one option, at least one option, then you can go for such questions. When you can eliminate 2 options, make sure you go for 2 options. AIMS must you have to attempt. You are eliminated 2 options. One option, AIMS examination, try to attempt it. So the story, the ends here. Okay. NEET. If you are not able to eliminate one option also, try to attempt it. If you are able to eliminate one option, must attempt it. Coming to the AIMS. If you are not able to eliminate one option, don't attempt it. If you are able to eliminate one option, try to attempt it. If you are able to eliminate 2 options, must attempt it. So I hope you are clear with unattempt, try to attempt, and must attempt. Practice this for the upcoming 2 examinations. You can see a drastic difference between your scores. So this is how you have to handle the negative marking in the AIMS as well as in the NEET exam. And the second important thing that you have to be focused is about revision plus exam. Means most of the people, they skip exams. They have different reasons for skipping exams. I don't want to discuss the reasons, but because lack of proper revision or lack of proper reading, most of the people skip exams. Whatever you read and followed by revision of the thing is important. Don't worry even if you read 90%, left over 10% of the syllabus. Revise that 90 and make sure you give the exam. You will know the difference. Let it be 70. Revise the 70 and give exam. Let it be 50 or no, don't worry. Revise that 50 and give exam. So revision is very, very important. Second thing, I was talking about the present module. So present module, whatever you're reading, for example, I'm just going to take an average 12 hours of reading per day. So I suggest you to add 1 more hour. This is what you do as you move from one module to other module. 1 more hour extra reading. And what my suggestion is, you need to extract half an hour from this. So once you move from module 1 to module 2, make sure you give 11.5 hours time for the present module and make sure you keep this 1.5 hour time for revision of previous module. You may, revision means revision. You are doing the things which are already done. For example, if you are not done the things, read it. So it can be useful for both revision as well as reading. But make sure what you read, the reading must be done with a revision. Reading is going to give satisfaction. Reading is going to give satisfaction, but revision is going to give marks and confidence. I feel like marks and confidence are more important. Your marks in your grand exams, which brings the confidence, are more important than satisfaction you have. There is one student who read 14 hours per day, last year student, who read 14 hours per day, very hard working, very hard working, but very lagging in the mode of revision. This 14 hours strategy is basically he write everything. He write everything, whatever required for the exam, everything. He write everything repeatedly. If the same question is discussed in a different way, he write again, sit and write. So that is why it is 14 hours and very less time for revision. He is very satisfactory because he sit 14 hours by keeping a stopwatch. And the second thing, he write notes like anything. Every week he write 100 to 200 pages notes. That gives very much satisfaction for his work. But if you see the scores of him, okay, the scores were too bad. The confidence drops. Then we sat together. I have analyzed what he is doing in these 14 hours. In these 14 hours, he is reading for 4 hours and writing for 6 hours, which is not a right option as you approach towards the examination. You hardly have 100 days. What you will read, what you will attain by writing everything what is done? No, not possible. Then we have modified his preparation. Then what he has done? He has done 8 hours reading and shifted this 6 hours, 4 hours for the revision and 2 hours for underlining and adding the extra points. No need to write. Few things were already there in PowerPlay books. Again, if you open PP books and if you start writing PP books, there is no point. Because you don't have any plans of writing or publishing your notes, most of you, right? So then there is no point of writing the things which are already written or already published. Okay. So then you can see a drastic difference in his preparation within 15 days. So after 15 days, we had a met. Then he has his satisfaction of 14 hours reading and he's very confident. He got very decent scores, a good high range of marks. And of course, right now he's in GDC in Indo department. That is different because the drift is important, the turning point in the preparation. You do very hard work, you work so hard, but in an irrelevant direction. So make sure you redirect the things. Okay, your confidence is more important. It's not your satisfaction. It's all about your confidence that is more important than your marks. Okay, so try to be very clear about this and try to focus more on revision and make sure there are few category of students who do everything, who read, who revise, but how you will get confidence? By seeing your scores. Yes, I'm weak here, I have to work hard. The motivation or your confidence in everything is by evaluating yourself in the exam. I am not here to evaluate you, you evaluate yourself. So this is exam. Few people, they skip exam. They start exam, immediately they submit, they see the answers. I don't know what is the satisfaction. A person who is being guided, who has taken coaching for some sports, if there is no point, that person doesn't participate in the game. For example, he has taken 6 months coaching to become a cricketer, but he is not interested in cricket matches. He's not interested in playing. Then there is no point. I can see most of you still doing this, skipping exam 1, just submitting the exam and just checking the answers. I don't know what is the point of submitting the exam. You have the same stuff in your PP books or in your XYZ basic MCQ books. You can do that rather than opening a question paper and submitting it. So please do think about. So must do to win this is revision, and of course you have to give the exam. The next comes the practice. This is what I'm talking about. So when you want to play your final game as best, make sure you practice. Practice is going to make you perfect. So once you are perfect, your accuracy will be increased. We started the topic with increasing in accuracy. So your accuracy will increase your scores, will make your rank better. This is what where we have started the discussion, where we have started how to improve your scores. Improve your accuracy. How to improve your accuracy? Practice. Practice is a part of revision. Make sure you complete everything that is present on the website. Make sure you just have a glance of everything that is being discussed on the group. Okay, discussed on the group. Make sure you finish your task, your PP books and everything. So all these are something like practice. Your net practice before your final match is very, very important, and I want everyone to practice more. Reading is one stage. Revising is the next stage. Reading, which is already revised, is the next stage. Then practice. Then practice. You read about class 2. Your teacher in your preclinical prosthetics as well as in the preclinical conservative, when you are in the second BDS, they'll ask you to read about class 2. Then you will revise and then you will go for the Viva. This is what we do. Once most of you answer the questions, then they give the demo. Then you will practice. Then you will attempt your final exam. And after in the final year and third year, you do the same on the patient. This is what we do regularly, right? So reading, revising, the next level is practicing and implementing in the final exam. So most of you are skipping this. Without practicing, how can you be successful in the final exam? Without revision, how can you be successfully practicing to perform in the final exam? So these are the levels. Most of you, more than 50% of the students or 50% of the students who doesn't perform at their efficiency, they don't follow this flow chart. They feel they read everything and they feel everything is done. They don't revise. Revision has to be done. They do both these steps and they don't give exam. They don't practice the exams. They don't finally go for exam, and they feel because they lack this step, they practice in final exam and they fail. They don't know how to correct themselves. So these are the levels you have to follow. What are the levels? Level 1 is read. Level 2 is revise. Level 3 is practice. Level 4 is execution in the final exam. So done. Winners. Okay, so winners are going to make all the difference. That is just because of their commitment, of their dedication, or seriousness towards their goals, or the priority towards their goals. So it's all about priority that is going to decide everything. Whether you're going to win it, whether you're going to keep it. If you feel apart from exam, there are many other priorities for you, right? So if you keep your exam as a priority for this upcoming 100 or 110 days, then there are chances that you to be successful. If you keep your exam or your preparation as a priority number 2 or 3, so it's all your commitment that is more important to change your priorities. And of course, if you have that commitment and priorities, of course you will be on the side of winning. So there is a slight demarcation line between the winners and the losers. You decide whether you want to be on this side or on that side. Signing off, Dr. Srikanth from Team MDS Conquer. Take care.